Hello and greetings, everyone. Now, the conversation today is going a little bit off topic a bit. Um, Something that's bothered us quite a lot. Now, I'm not going to mention what's been going on in America because really I don't know anything about that. But let's talk a little bit what's going on in this country. Now, there's been a few statues attacked, including Winston Churchill, and a guy in Bristol who died in the 17th century, who was involved in the slave trade. I'm not denying that. But he also was responsible for a lot of good things that happened in Bristol. He donated his entire fortune when he died to charitable causes. So he was an evil man. He might have been involved in the slave trade, but so was everyone in them days. Everything was connected with the slave trade, from governments to hospitals, from everything. Everything used slaves. The church, everyone used slaves in those days, which was wrong. Slavery is a wrong thing to do. I don't deny that. But anyway, the thought was right to destroy a statue to somebody. Okay. Now then, the councils have started removing other people that had connections to slavery, some monuments. Well, I'm going to go down that path. So, next monuments we need to take down because they were built with slavery. The pyramids. Let's take the pyramids down. Slaves built them. Yeah, pull all the pyramids down because slaves built them. Great Wall of China. Let's get that pulled down. Get that Great Wall of China pulled down because it was built on slavery. Lots of things that are landmarks were built with slavery. It wasn't just the Egyptians, it was the Greeks. Let's pull all the Greek landmarks down. Everything to do with slavery, let's pull it down. Let's pull all the Greek stuff down. Romans, let's get rid of all the Roman stuff. Yeah, let's. And again, people are saying, it's the Europeans that have done it. Well, let's just remember the slave traders in Europe. Yes, there was. The Vikings, our ancestors, slave traders. There were. There's no getting away from it. But at the same time, in those days, if you fought in a war and you lost the war, they had no prisons or concentration camps to put you in. So they had two choices. Let you go so you could fight them again. Kill you so you couldn't fight them again. Or sell you slaves, which is what they've done. Not saying it's right, it's wrong, but that's what they've done. Nearly all of Ireland was built on the Viking slave trade. A lot of the most famous people on earth were results from that slavery. I'm not saying directly, but I would say everyone in this country, which I'm in England, has at least 10 to 20 ancestors who might have been slaves at one time. When they did DNA tests in Scandinavia, they found that 33% of all the people in Scandinavia had been slaves at some time. They came from other areas. So, slavery it's not an important part, but it's something that's intermingled with all of our culture, all of our ancestors. And this has been going on thousands of years since we first had, technologies which, crops and wars and buildings. since those times, we've had slaves. Slaves have just been part of the way of life. And it's only in the last couple of 100 years which it's been stopped, which is good. But it hasn't been completely stopped, has it? Slavery still goes on in the Middle East. Slavery still goes on in Africa. Slavery still goes on in China. Philippines. Slavery still goes on, but you don't hear nothing about it. Slavery is a bad thing. And we should stop it. Human trafficking is still one of the biggest businesses there is. But anyway, back to the what's going on in a minute. The taking of slaves from Africa is a disgrace. It is wrong. It shouldn't have happened. But what you got to remember is the Europeans, mainly, English, French, whatever, Portuguese, Spanish, and North Americans, bought the slaves. They didn't go out and catch them themselves. No, they had people like the Arabs doing that for them. Other African tribes caught slaves and sold them to the English people, the American people, the Spanish people. So when you go blaming people for the slave trade, yeah, everyone was to blame. We shouldn't have bought them. But then again, the Africans and North Saharan people who went out and caught them, took them from villages and sold them. Now, the Europeans and the Americans put a stop to the slave trade many, many years ago. And as far as I know, England, France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, North America, Canada, places like that, don't allow slavery. They don't tolerate slavery. Most of the African countries still deal in slaves. Most of the Asian countries, Southern Asia, still deal in slaves. Nearly all the Middle Eastern countries still deal in slaves. Nothing said about that, though, is it? We need to take into consideration when you start attacking England's past that we had a past that was built on destruction taken from other countries. But so did the Romans, so did the Egyptians, so did the Greeks, so did Genghis Khan. Everyone throughout history have done that. But it got put to a stop well before our grandparents were born. We tried to put a stop to it. So instead of saying, well, yous are to blame and people that lived here to blame, yeah, I totally agree, they were, it was wrong. But what you're doing now is wrong as well. Because what was allowed in them days, which isn't allowed now, it was lawful in them days. And these people that earned a lot of money off slavery, earned a lot of money off other things. But most of them also give most of the fortunes to charities, which benefited. So what do? Close them charities down? All the big money that these rich people give, they give to churches, libraries, schools, hospitals. What do? Do we pull them down? It's part of our culture. Let's embrace it. Let's not dwell on the bad things. Slavery is an old thing for most countries in the world. So instead of going on about what we did in the past, why don't you start going on what countries are doing now in the Middle East, in Africa, in Pakistan? Let's stop slavery there. The slavery's still going on all over the Philippines and places like that. Let's put a stop to that slavery instead of going on about slavery that's happening here, or happened here hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. Remember when the Vikings invaded Lindisfarne, the monks they didn't kill, they didn't just let go, they took them as slaves. It was a commodity. It was wrong, but it happened. It's all the past though. Put the past behind we. Hail the gods. Hail Tia. Hail Air. Hail your father. Stop slavery. Still going on. Right. Toodles. Stay safe. Stay very safe.